Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you today? Stephanie,
Good evening, teacher.
Anna, William, good evening. Melissa, Joanna, how are you?
Good evening, teacher.
Good evening.
I'm great, teacher.
Okay, that's good. Oh, you're great. That's nice. That's a good sign. So, how are you today? Ready to continue working with frequency adverbs? Yes. Okay, let's
Yes,
get
teacher.
started. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to study frequency adverbs. Remember, we have been studying frequency adverbs, but we are going to study frequency adverbs, the percentage of the adverbs, the position they have in the sentence, and some other exercises we are going to do. Okay, let's watch it.
No se
Mister,
escucha, teacher.
it's not listen, Mister.
No se escucha, teacher.
Adverbs of frequency. An
Listen
adverb
now.
of frequency tells us how often
Yes.
something takes
Yeah.
place.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry.
100%, always. I always wake up at 6 o'clock. %, usually. I usually come home after work. Normally, generally. I normally swim after school. Often, frequently. I often spend Christmas with friends. Sometimes. I sometimes play tennis on the weekend. Occasionally. I occasionally eat Vietnamese food. Seldom. I seldom go to the library. Rarely. I rarely listen to the radio. never. I never listen to rock music.
Okay, so if you can see, this is the percentage of all the frequency adverbs. You can see 100% always. And the position, remember in the sentence, I always, okay? So frequency adverbs goes after the subject. I always wake up at 6. 90%, usually. I usually come home after work. 80% normally or generally. I normally swim after school. 70% often or frequently. I often spend Christmas with friends. Sometimes 50%. I sometimes play tennis on the weekend. 30% occasionally. I occasionally eat Vietnamese food. Okay, 10% seldom. I seldom go to the library. 5% rarely. I rarely listen to the radio. And 0% never. I never listen to rock music. Okay, if you can see better, okay, the position of the frequency address after the subject and the percentage or the frequency we do the activities. Questions so far? This, do you understand it better? Now, we're gonna do some exercises afterward, okay? Now, let's see. Let's go for some exercises here. Okay. Okay, here. You can see here, we have, okay, the same as you saw before, the same parameter you saw before, always, usually, frequently. And here, we have some sentences. What are you going to do here? You are going to write the same sentence, but you have to include in the sentence the expressions, the frequency adverbs in parentheses or in brackets. For example, the first one, he listens to the radio often. So the sentence should be, he
He
often.
often listens to the radio.
Okay, excellent, good. Okay, continue. Look at the other sentences and complete them. Remember, you are going to write again the sentence, including the frequency adverbs, like the example you did. Okay, work on the sentences, and when you're ready, tell me.
They sometimes read a book.
Okay. They sometimes
Read a book.
Read a book.
read a book. They sometimes book.
Read a book. Never get hungry.
Pete never gets angry.
Okay. Pete never gets angry. Okay, good. That's it.
Angry.
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 Like the Angry Birds, okay? The movie. Pete never gets angry.
Tom is usually very friendly.
Okay. Number 4, sentence number 4, in this case, is a tricky sentence. You can see the verb to be, and we haven't studied that part yet. When you have the verb to be, frequency adverbs are after the verb to be.
Good
Okay.
evening, teacher.
Hello,
Usually
good
Tom
evening.
is very friendly. Usually
Uh,
Tom is very friendly.
Okay, Tom is usually very friendly. Okay, listen. When you have the verb to be, is, are, am, you are going to use the frequency adverbs after. For example, you say, I am always on time.
Mm.
Or I say, William is always in class. Or I can say, Sylvia is never late. Okay? Or Jessica sometimes comes early. I mean, you say, Jessica is sometimes early. Okay, you use after the verb to be. But before other verbs, like you say, Pete never, or they sometimes read, or he often listens. But when you have the verb to be, you are going to write after the verb to be. So in this case, it should be Tom is usually very friendly.
Okay.
After the verb to be, remember. Continue.
I sometimes take sugar in my coffee.
I sometimes, okay, put sugar in my coffee. Good job.
Raymond and Frank are often hungry.
I'm often hungry.
Okay, Ramon and Frank are, okay, remember, after the verb to be, are often hungry. Okay, when you have the verb to be is after, like is usually are often hungry. Okay, good. You're doing good.
My grandmother
My grandma
always goes for a
will
walk
go
in the
for
evening.
a walk in the evening.
Okay, my grandmother always goes for a walk in the evening. Okay, good.
Walter usually helps his father in the kitchen.
Okay, Walter usually helps his father in the kitchen. Excellent.
Teacher,
Um,
Yes, tell me.
They never watch TV in the afternoon.
Okay, they never watch TV in the afternoon. Okay, Raul.
Christine never smokes.
Christine never smokes. Okay, good job. Now give me a second. I'm gonna call out your names. Let's see. Ana Maria Garcia.
present teacher.
Okay, thank you. Andrea Alejandra Peña Vázquez. Are you here? Okay, Diana Saraí Alférez Fuentes.
Present, teacher.
Okay, Diana, thank you. Gabriela Lisette Ramírez. Not here yet. Gerson Vinicio Moreno Funes. Gerson, okay. Justin Andrea Orellana Galdames. Jessica Melanie Serrano Ramírez.
I'm here, teacher.
Okay, good. Joana Guadalupe Fernández La Reinaga.
I'm present.
Okay, thank you. Melissa Giselle López Franco.
Present.
Okay, good. Noé Eduardo Amaya Trigueros.
Present.
Thank you. Nubia Daisy Ramírez de Serrano.
Present, teacher.
Okay, thank you. Raúl Alexander Belloso.
Present, teacher.
Thanks. Rosa Feliciana Argueta.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Silvia Noemí Campos de Cucufate.
Present, teacher.
Okay, Stephanie Carolina Javier Barrera.
Present, teacher.
And Suani Marislaisis Hernández Cornejo. Suani, are you here yet? Wilder Gabriel Chica Alvarenga. Wilder, I saw you somewhere else. William Alfredo Martínez Pérez.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Okay. Now. Okay, just remember, after the verb to be, you are going to use the frequency adverb. Now, let me show you. Okay, let me show you a video here.
Hi. Thanks for watching. Hi, this is Mark. This is English conversation practice. How often do you? How often do you? Always. Usually. Sometimes. Hardly ever. Never. I always read.
The position.
I usually go out to eat. I sometimes cook. I hardly ever wash my car. I never go camping. How often do you? How often do you fish? I always fish. I usually fish. I sometimes fish. I hardly ever fish. I never fish.
Okay, remember the answer can be said in different ways, but remember the percentage. I always fish, I usually fish, I sometimes fish, I hardly ever fish, I never fish. Just remember, the frequency adverbs indicates the times you do an activity. And you can see the position. I always, I usually, I sometimes, I hardly ever, I never.
Okay, great. Now it's your turn. How often do you? How often do you fish?
How often do you fish?
I never.
Personal question.
I never fish.
Okay, you never fish. What about the rest? How often do you fish?
Me too, I never fish.
I never fish. You never fish? Okay. Let's continue.
How often do you work out?
Work out. How often do you work out? Work out is exercise. Work out.
I sometimes work out.
Okay. I sometimes work out.
I hardly ever work out.
I hardly ever work out.
I
I
always.
Often work out.
Okay, I often work out.
always go out.
Work out. Okay, I always work out. Remember, work out is to exercise. I always work out. Or I never work out. Okay. Now let's move on.
How sometimes,
Do you fly a kite?
right, how,
How often do you fly? This is a kite. Remember, in October and November, it's very common to fly a kite. How often do you fly a kite?
I
I
sometimes
always fly a
fly a
kite.
kite.
how usually fly kite.
I usually fly a kite.
My daughter and I usually fly a kite.
Okay, my daughter and I usually fly a kite. Okay, that's good to know.
I often fly a kite.
I often fly a kite.
I
Okay,
never fly a kite.
you never fly a kite. You have time.
I'm hardly ever
How
fly a
often
kite.
do you go hiking?
Okay, how often do you go hiking?
I never go
Go
hiking.
hiking. How often do you
Go hiking.
Go hiking.
How often do you go hiking? Go hiking is like when you go to the mountain, okay? You go walking. How often do you go hiking? You never?
I never go hiking.
You never go hiking.
I never go hiking.
Okay.
Me too, I never go hiking.
Okay. We are Coach Potatoes, right? You
How
remember
often do you
dialogue.
watch TV?
Okay. How often do you watch TV?
I always watch TV.
Me too.
Usually
I
watch TV.
always watch TV.
I guess that's
I usually watch TV.
I guess that's the most common.
watch TV.
I sometimes
I
watch TV.
sometimes watch TV.
Okay,
I sometimes watch TV.
I sometimes watch TV. I hardly ever. Okay, that's the common hobby for it.
How often do you read books?
How often do you read books?
I
I
usually
usually,
read books.
I usually read books, or I sometimes read
read
books.
the book.
I usually
Okay,
read books.
I usually read,
I read books. Read books. Books.
yeah, read
I
books.
sometimes read books.
Okay, Jessica, I sometimes read books.
I usually read books.
Read, I usually read books.
How often do you exercise?
How often do you exercise?
I
I
hardly ever
usually
exercise.
exercise.
Okay, I hardly ever exercise.
I hardly never ever exercise.
Hardly ever,
Uh,
I hardly ever. Maybe once a week.
I sometimes exercise.
I sometimes exercise. Okay, that's the idea, right? I sometimes exercise. Let's keep on moving.
How often do you talk on the telephone?
Yeah, tell me, how often do you talk on the telephone?
I
I
always talk
always,
of the telephone.
I always
Always, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nowadays
I always.
it's impossible not to talk on the telephone, right? Nowadays, every day
That's
you're
right.
talking on the telephone,
I
right?
always,
I
Always.
I
sometimes
always
talk
Okay,
on
you
the
talk
telephone.
on this
okay,
telephone.
you sometimes, okay, sometimes, but always, right? Most of
I
the time.
I sometimes on the telephone.
Okay, Nubia, you sometimes, okay.
I always check out
How
the
often do
telephone.
you study?
Okay, that's the $1 million question. How often do you study English?
I always
I
study
always
English.
speak English.
Okay, I always study
always
English.
study English.
Yes.
Every
Yeah,
day.
every
Sometimes.
day. You are studying English
Every
every
day.
day, right? Okay, I always
Ahora.
study English. Who never studies English? Tell me. Who
Who?
never studies English? Okay, I
Me
always
or
study.
other?
I don't know. Do you study English? Do you always study English?
Yes, I
Yes.
study English all days.
All days, okay.
Mhm.
All days or every day? Okay.
Every day, always.
Okay, great job. I'll see you next time. Take care.
Okay, now let's see the other interview. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, remember yesterday? Yesterday we studied the 25 question. Now you're gonna have the interview. Yesterday you did the question. Now you're gonna listen to the questions. And the
How
possible.
often do you questions? I just want you to answer the questions as quickly as possible. Here we go.
Okay. How about you guys? How often do you eat junk food? Listen.
Here we go. How often do you eat junk food?
How often do you eat junk food? Joanna, how often do you eat junk food? Any idea? Ana Garcia, Raúl Alexander? Do you
I
know
never
junk?
eat junk food. I never.
Remember, junk food is hamburgers, hot dogs, pizza.
Okay, okay.
That's
Sometimes I
junk food.
sometimes eat junk food.
Junk food refers to,
I
hot dogs,
I
pizza,
ate
burgers.
junk food.
Always, yeah. Sometimes it's junk food, especially when you are in a hurry, right? When you are in a hurry, you eat junk food. Okay, remember the
Once a month.
answer.
How often do you read?
Once a month. Okay, one time a month, probably. Or sometimes, as you mentioned. How often do
A
you
book.
read a book?
Once a week.
How often do you go shopping?
Okay, how often do you go shopping, Raúl? Do you go shopping sometimes to the market?
Yes, I sometimes go shopping.
Okay, I will sometimes go shopping. I suppose the ladies, they go shopping very often, right?
I go shopping once a week.
Okay, Sylvia, how often do you go shopping?
I'm shopping.
I go shopping
I go shopping to with
two times,
some mom,
twice a month. Okay,
twice a month,
twice a month or two times a month.
twice a month.
Okay, let's see.
Once a week.
Once a week, twice a month. Okay, remember the frequency expressions and the frequency adverbs.
How often do you do laundry?
Okay, how often do you do laundry, Noé? Do laundry is wash your clothes.
I always do laundry.
You always do laundry, okay. How about you, William? How
Usually
often do you do laundry?
I sometimes a week.
Sometimes, okay, you sometimes.
A week.
Okay, a week. Or you say I do laundry every week. Okay? Or once a week.
3 times a week.
How often do you cook?
Okay, the $1 million question. No, Eduardo, how often do you cook?
I never cook.
You never cook. Okay. Women are specialists in cooking, right?
My wife always cook.
Okay, your wife cooks. Okay, how often do you
Yes,
cook?
always, every day.
Every day. Okay, Stephanie Carolina, how often do you cook?
I always cook.
You always cook. Okay. You're a very good cook.
Every day.
How often do you exercise?
Okay, how often do you exercise, Diana Sarai?
I I do exercise every month.
Once a month, every month, or
Yes,
one time a month? Okay,
once a month.
once a month, like me, once a month. Almost never.
Every day.
How often do you call your dad?
Okay, how often do you call your dad? Jacqueline. How often do you call your dad? Jessica, how often do you call your dad?
All time.
Sometimes. You have to be in touch with your father, right?
Not often.
And the both, my mom and my father.
Okay.
Or sometimes my brother and my sister.
Okay, you call your family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good.
How
Next
often do you
question.
check your phone?
How often do you check your phone? Sylvia, how often do you check your phone?
Day.
I always.
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 Check
Okay.
I'm always.
Always, every day.
Every day, always.
You check messages. Okay, text.
When
Yeah.
it's necessary.
How often do you go out with
Okay, how often do you go out with your friend? Once a week,
I
maybe.
never.
Every
Once a week.
day. Once a month. Every Saturday, every Friday, every Sunday.
Every month.
Once a week.
Okay,
Once a week.
once a week.
your friends?
Once
Once a
a
week.
week.
Okay,
One.
once a week.
Oh, wow.
Once a week.
How often do you
You-
drink tea?
Every day.
Do you drink tea? Do you drink tea?
I
Every
never
day.
drink tea.
Every day.
Every day.
I drink coffee every day.
Coffee is better
Always.
than tea. Always. You always drink tea. Or do you
Yeah.
prefer coffee, drinking coffee?
I never.
Mm,
You never drink tea? I don't
Yes.
either. I never do. I prefer coffee.
Day.
Okay,
Coffee.
next one.
How often do you play mobile games?
How often do you play mobile games? Mobile is the cell phone, okay? How often do you play cell phone games?
And
I
something.
hardly ever play mobile games.
I
Are you
hardly ever
hardly
play
ever,
mobile
okay?
games.
You
oh,
mobile games.
I often.
Okay, I often play when you are boring, you play mobile games, okay?
Yeah.
Every day.
How often do you take the subway?
Okay, we don't have a subway. How often do you take the subway? Never, okay?
I never take the
I
subway.
never
I never take
You
a
never
subway.
take the subway. Okay.
Every day for work.
How often do you visit the UK?
Okay, how often you visit the UK? UK is United Kingdom.
I never.
Okay,
I
United
never.
Kingdom. Yeah,
Never.
I never miss.
In the future.
I never visited.
yeah, I never visit United Kingdom. It's in Europe.
Once
Yeah.
every 5 years.
How often do you drink coffee?
That's better. How often do you drink coffee?
Always.
I
Every
always
day.
I
drink coffee
always,
every day.
always.
Every
I
day.
love it.
Yeah,
I
I
never.
know. Especially with sweet bread, right?
In my case, I never drink coffee.
Oh, you never drink coffee?
Yes.
Sorry for you. Okay.
4 times a week.
How
Next
often do you
question.
put on makeup?
Okay, how often do you put on makeup? Ladies, especially ladies, I suppose, right?
Never. I never put on makeup.
You never put on makeup. You know, makeup is when you paint your face, your skin?
I never put makeup.
Okay, you never put on
I
makeup.
usually put on makeup.
Yeah, usually when you go to work, when you go to study, okay, you put on
Every
some makeup every day, right?
makeup.
Okay, put on some makeup.
Every day.
How often do you travel?
How often do you travel?
Every day.
Every day. We travel from home to work and from work to home, okay, back home.
Every day for work.
I
How often do you
always
post to social media?
How often do you post to social media? No, how often do you post? It's like you post photos on Facebook, on Instagram, on your cell phone.
I sometimes post to social media.
I
Okay.
hardly use to
How
social
often do
media.
you post to social media? Remember, WhatsApp is a social media.
I often
TikTok,
Often, right?
WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram.
Yeah, Messenger, Instagram, Facebook, you post media. That's very common nowadays.
Twice a week.
How often do
Okay.
you change jobs?
How often do you change jobs?
mhm,
I sometimes
Okay, I
change
sometimes
job.
change jobs. In El Salvador, it's not very common to change jobs. It's hard to find jobs in El Salvador, right? It's difficult.
hard.
Okay,
Once a year.
How often do you listen to music?
okay. How often do you listen to music?
Gospel.
I always listen to music.
I always.
Oh, it doesn't matter what kind of music, gospel,
I always
merengue,
listen to
salsa.
I always listen to the music. I love you metal, new metal.
Okay, you love listening to music. You love metal, heavy metal, rock, love reggaeton, perreo, and so on.
Every day.
How often do you eat chocolate?
Okay. How often do you eat chocolate?
Hmm,
Every
sometimes,
day, sometimes. Yeah, delicious, right?
yes.
Chocolate is delicious. Sometimes, okay.
3 times a week.
How often do you change your hair color?
Okay. How often do you change your hair? Ladies is very common, but men also change hair color. How often do you,
One year,
once a year?
one year.
Okay. Once a year, one
I
time a
never.
year. You never, okay, you never change your hair color.
I
Ladies, what
never
about ladies?
change
Never.
my hair
Okay.
I
color.
never change my hair color. Never.
Okay, Sylvia, you never change your hair color.
Once a month.
How often do you go hiking?
How often do you go hiking? Hiking is when you go to walk the mountain. You go walking, for example, to Cerro Verde, you go walk to La Puerta del Diablo. How often do you go hiking?
Mm,
I never go hiking.
You never go hiking?
I go with my family hiking.
Okay,
Is rarely.
rarely. Okay, you can say
I
I
sometimes.
rarely, I sometimes, so I rarely go hiking.
Mhm.
I usually going in
How
the
often do you go to the
vacation.
beach?
Okay, how often do you go to the beach?
Twice a year.
3 times a year. Okay,
3 times a year.
3 times a year. Okay,
On
good.
week.
On weekends, okay, you say I go to the beach on weekend.
For
Hey,
the Christmas.
okay, for Christmas, vacations, you go to the beach.
Once a year.
How often do you visit the dentist?
Okay, how often do you visit the dentist?
I sometimes visit them.
Okay, you sometimes.
Every 6 months.
Hardly ever.
This a
Okay,
year.
hardly ever you visit the dentist or when necessary, right?
How often do you wash
Mhm.
your hands?
How often do you wash your hands?
Sometimes. I
Okay.
always.
Always.
Wash.
I always
Always.
wash my
I
hands.
always
Okay, you always wash your
wash my hands.
Okay.
At least 3 times a day.
Thank you very much for
At
sharing your
least
answer.
3 times a day after you eat. Okay, now let's go to something interesting. Okay, hold on. Okay, give me a second, please. Okay, now tell me, how often do you study English?
I
Oh,
study every day.
How often do you study English? Do you study English every day?
yes.
I
Yes,
study usually
every night.
every day study
Every
English.
day, every day. Oh,
I always study English.
okay, I always study English. You study English. Okay. continue. Okay, hold on, give me a second. Okay. um, Okay, let's see this. European, let's check. We're gonna check some exercises here. You're gonna read the sentence and choose, wait, this is a knowledge check. Okay, you're gonna read the sentence and choose which is correct. For example, like this. Do you play sports ever? Which should be the correct sentence for you?
Do you ever play sports?
Okay, you think it should be, do you?
You even play sport.
Okay, do you ever?
Do you ever play sport?
Okay, hold on. Do you ever play sport? Okay, give me a second. Okay, hold on. I lost it. Okay, so the right sentence should be, do you ever? Okay. Do you ever play sports? The first one, right? Yes? What about
Yes.
number 2? Sure, I play soccer twice a week.
Twice a week.
Okay, which sentence do you think is correct?
Sure, I play soccer twice a week.
Yes,
Okay.
sure, I play soccer twice a week.
Okay, number 1, number 2, or number 3?
3.
Number 3.
Sure, I play soccer twice a week. Okay. What about number 3? What do you do on Saturday morning usually? Read
The
the
first.
What do
three
you
possible
usually
sentences.
do on Saturday morning?
What do you usually do on Saturday morning? Okay, do you agree? Yes? Do you agree? What do you usually do? First one?
The first one.
Yes, agree. The first one.
Okay, you agree the first one.
First one.
Number 4. Read it. Nothing much. I sleep until noon. Almost
Nothing much. I
always.
almost always sleep until now.
Number 2.